Hey everybody, how we doing today? Outstanding. Alright, what do I got in front of me? I got my Autool SDT-202 smoke leak detector. I've had this probably about a month and a half now. I've used it on various things around the house, four-wheelers. I'm going to do a video here shortly, probably in the next couple of weeks, depending on what the weather does, to find a leak in the wife's Jeep. Get it? Jeeps again? Anyways, we've got the famous mystery leak where water goes into the floorboard. But enough about that. Alright, so what do you get? Of course you get the detector. You get a nice little bottle. I'm going to explain that in a minute. You get the box of goodies, which comes, everything comes in it. You've got like the inlet plug, and then you have another set of plugs to go in there. So depending on what you need. Another hose, it's a little bit shorter. The hose that I'm using is roughly about 11 feet long, and it's made out of fairly decent rubber. It is collapsible though if you pinch it and stuff, so when you have it hooked up, I'll get to that in a minute, but enough about that. Anyways, so then you have your power cord. Okay, this is a 12 volt system. This is not a 24 nor a 120 volt system. Now you're going to notice at the end it's the same setup and configuration like on the back of your computer. Do not, and I repeat, do not use the power cord from the back of your computer to plug this in and plug it into 120, because it'll go poof real fast. Not saying I know, it's just that I can imagine somebody doing it. But anyways, this is about 5 feet long, so it's pretty good distance. Okay. Then with that being said, then you have, like I said, the hose and the nozzle. And it's stepped up so that you can fit it in any diameter orifice, and then if you're not, you can use the adapters for it. On top of that, with this, you have a pressure gauge. What you have is a gauge that measures in megapascals and kilograms pressure. Okay, you'll notice on here, you'll see the black is for the megapascal, and then the red is for the kilograms / centimeters. This is basically for when you're doing your pressure. This will tell you, like, okay, let's say the best way to describe it. When you're plugging into something and it's blocked off, this is going to rise. This is going to tell you it's got resistance against it. Air intake systems and stuff, you don't want to go above 5. What I would recommend is going in, finding out where 5 is or less, and kind of making a little indentation off the side so that you know. I wish this was rated in pounds, but it's not. And it can give you, if somebody's not really paying attention, you'd be on, well, I'm only at like 2 pounds or 2.5 pounds if they're not really paying attention. But when you do it, just kind of do a conversion off to the side, write on it, pencil, whatever. But that is basically just letting you know the pressure that is building up. It'll stay down here if it's free flowing. If it's just got a constant volume that's going and there's no build back pressure, it'll stay down here. Okay, there's your on off. Nice little green light. The green light comes on the minute you got power to it, but then boom, you hit it on, etc. This is what the back looks like. It's a nice little steel case. It's got its little holder, and it's got its fill port. And back here, like I said, this is for the power plug to plug in. Make sure that you only use what you're supposed to. This wall comes disconnected. You'll get your line, and then all you do is with this, you slip it over, and then you just tighten it down. You can tighten it down by hand. Just make sure it's firm. Don't really tighten it, because you'll have a good chance of cutting the rubber that's on there. So just go tight enough to where you can feel resistance and where it stops. But that's it in a nutshell for this thing. Now, things to really pay attention to. It comes with this nice little handy dandy container. You'll see the little bottle that comes with it. It's got known marks on it. So here's one thing I recommend. If you get a chance, grab something that you can be able to measure in milliliters and put it in the bottle so that you know that 15, 24, and 30. When you first fill this, you're supposed to not go anywhere. You're supposed to go into the 20 to 30 range, so that's why I put 24 in there, just kind of a happy medium. Because the bottle doesn't really have anything, so when you go into the beginning of the setup of the manual, it's only going to tell you to put in 20, and then you only put in 15 thereafter when you're running it. Don't overfill it because it has a chance of getting spilled out or what have out of the chamber. People had issues with when they overfilled it. So when you go through and you fill it up, basically all you're going to do is take your cap off, and you don't, like I said, even though it's got a hex head on it, don't hex head tighten it down. You don't have to. It's not like it's going to be real massive air, okay? But down inside, I'll put a picture in there, but you can't see it, but down inside through this, the tank is at the bottom down here with the element sitting right here. It's got a wick set up. So what happens is the wick to the heating element, then the heating element goes through the little mini compressor, which runs all the time, so that the compressor will take and pump your smoke out. So basically, in a nutshell, that's the whole system. It's a nice little setup. I mean, it's a great thing to have in the garage, especially when you're starting to work on things and you're trying to find a leak check on something. If you can mildly pressurize it instead of having to go to soap and bubbles. Like if you're finding a leak in an engine, oh, this thing's a cat's meow. Because what happens is it'll come out of orifices and lines that are cracked and chafed or whatever and tell you. And you can use it in just about anything. Also, this is a great way to test to see if like your door frames, door jambs, like if your vehicle has been wrecked or if you're hearing whistling in your door frames, you can use this and go around the door frame. You'll see in the video here following up on this that it extends out and it's pretty good volume. I recommend using an automotive battery, not using, you can use it off the ATV battery, but it does have a good little draw, and it will kind of start, as the power starts going down, the smoke will start getting further and further to where you won't see it no more. But this is a great way to like test things, like if you've got a door seal going out or a window seal going out, you can put it around there and it'll help push in there a little bit, and you'll be able to see the smoke to come through. You might, I mean, you won't see the stream unless it's like a big giant gap, but you'll see a puff of smoke or stuff like that that'll come through. Now, this does have, of course, here we go, forgot the manual. Woo! Okay, this is a nice little manual that comes with it. Some people that have, they were complaining in the first series that the manual was almost not really helpful. Well, this one is pretty good. It's still missing a little bit of things, but here you go. It's basically how to get started, your main unit structure, the tool description, everything out, and then it goes through what it, you know, how, where, what each part is over here, the operations, and then the maintenance, then how to leak test and packing, you know, what came with your package list, and then the information, and then, well, if you speak Chinese, then the rest of it's even more exciting. But the one thing is behind this only runs for 8 minutes. Shut it off, let it rest, then you can start it back up. 8 more minutes. It has an auto shut off, so if it hits the auto shut off before you get, let's say you're focused in on what you got, it will shut off and go into protection mode. Basically, you shut it off, unplug it, let it rest, give it about 20 minutes, plug it back in, you'll be back up and running. What I normally do is I run it anywhere from 5 to 6 minutes, unplug it for 5 to 6 minutes. If I'm not really knee deep, let it cool down a little bit, plug it right back in, go back. Now the thing is, keep an eye on your oil. I don't know how much oil it burns, let's say in 6 minutes, but it recommends no more than 15 ounces every use. And then also, when you get ready to store this, and you know it's going to sit, let's say it's going to sit for a couple days, overnight, whatever, take the old oil, if there is any, that hasn't been used and just dump it out. Now, what do I use? I use baby oil. You can use mineral oil, but baby oil is mineral oil. It's got a funky smell, but so does mineral oil. But it really works really good. You'll see here in a few minutes. Okay, so basically right now you see that it's disconnected. So we'll go ahead, it's already got power coming to it. So what's going to happen is the minute you plug this in, the air compressor is going to kick on. It's normal. Okay. Now with that, you're going to hear a bog down. There's your smoke light. You'll feel air coming through here. But luckily my battery in the four-wheeler is pretty good. So now it will send the smoke out. So and it's slowly starting to do it. See it? Okay. And that works pretty good. And it'll get, the more and more it gets, the stronger and stronger you'll see it. Yeah, kind of not really good. We use the helmet. It's getting a little smoky in here. But there you go. See the helmet? There you go. Okay, so you get the gist. There's smoking up in here. Homemade hookah pipe. But see, now with it off, the air compressor is still punching. It takes all the residual out. And there you go. And then you can go ahead and just put it up. Disconnect it. Maybe it will. Don't smell too bad actually. It's got a nice little scent to it. But when it comes to it, after you're done, of course, if you're not going to use it, take it and dump it out. And put it off this side and use it for a rainy day. And like I said, I just use some cheap old baby oil. Do you ever wonder if... Nah. Anyways, this trap, I hope this helped you. If you got any questions or anything about it, post them in the comment. Give me a thumbs up if you like it.